Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, obviously enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. This is live show 1343. How's about that? Crazy. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop role-playing game news. Then I'll usually tackle a topic related to our hobby, which is what we'll be doing tonight. I'll get into that in just a little bit. But when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com, where you're going to find plenty of tabletop gaming news, reviews, and tons more that you're never going to find here on YouTube. Come on, you know the drill by now. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber for at least an hour to the channel before you can take part in chat. It's how we keep most of the unusual commenters at bay. But if you check off that box, you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I'll do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Sumper Buffo. Keith Ulu's with us, Kevin R. Smith, Mark Hawkswell, and Kathy Evans is also popping on in the door. I'll take a guess. We might have the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D lurking in the shadows as one of our chat moderators. That is a possibility. Kevin R. Smith said the highlight of their day was remembering that it's their birthday and they had to renew their car registration. I bet you the car registration was more exciting than the birthday. Because once you hit a certain age, now me personally, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's my birthday, all right. I'm not one of these people who's like, hey, I'm all depressed. And I'm not insinuating Kevin R. Smith is that way either. But for most adults, once you hit a certain age, it's kind of like, yeah, it's my birthday, yeah, all right. Hey, thanks for the card. And yes, Kevin R. Smith says, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would think so. And W. Forge has joined us tonight. Very nice. Very nice. So tonight's topic, we're going to talk about Star Trek. And we're going to discuss the best eras of Star Trek for role-playing game adventures. Now, keep in mind, we're not discussing what are the best eras of Star Trek. We're looking at it through the role-playing game lens. So we'll talk about that. We shall discuss that in some depth. And yes, Miss Sarah D is popping on in. Said they're skating in from their union meeting. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. All right, so let's jump on into the news because Professor DM has joined forces with Roll for Combat to launch a backer kit project for the sword and sorcery role-playing game Deathbringer. That's why every time I see the title, I want to say it like that. Deathbringer. Regardless, here's the dope. Forged in Blood by Professor DM and Roll for Combat, with contributions from Brandon Gillum, hankering for an ale over at Runehammer. Yes. This is not another safe fantasy game. This is steel, fire, consequence. Combat is fast. Victories are earned. Death is real. Okay, I don't think that's going to be the case. Sorry, Jim, your character died, and now so do you. The old games have grown soft. It's time to sharpen the blade and remind those of the price of failure and bloody glory. Deathbringer is dark fantasy stripped to the bone, savage, blood-soaked, and merciless. It honors the old-school roots of the hobby and burns away everything that slows it down. Heroes here are dark, gritty things. The weak and prim do not survive this age. One tight D20 core. Roll, add your stat, beat the number. Beneath that simplicity, escalating danger, cinematic violence, and choices that matter. Every session plays like the final chapter of a legend. Fully compatible with Shadow Dark and all OSR games, but it plays by its own brutal rules. Fast and lethal. You can learn it in one sitting and die in less. Death has consequences. Scar up, lose a limb, cheat death twice. The third time, you'll go out in a blaze of glory. You'll also find ultimate dungeon terrain, full rules for running combat on Professor DM's official UDT, 3 zones, 0 escape. You've got death dice. Change your fate with a roll of the dice. Simple to use, brutal to run out of. And combat that doesn't wait around. Combat is fast, fun, and with use of the death die, incredibly strategic. You also have the Shattered Empire. The world is dying, and so will you. But you're going to take as many as you can with you. And a bestiary of horrors, monsters and villains enough to fill 100 sessions with fresh funerals. Well, this really does have a fascination with death, right? You'll find a full GM toolkit, everything a game master needs to deliver doom without breaking stride. And once again, this is Shadow Dark compatible. Drops into any OSR campaign with 0 friction. Your monsters work, your players won't survive. Now, this project is fully funded over on BackerKit. In fact, it's past the $500,000 mark, and it just launched today. Now, there are a variety of different pledge levels. I mean, there's loads and loads of different pledge levels, but if we boil it all down, if you want to get the Deathbringer hardcover, you can do so for a $60 pledge. If you want to secure the PDF, you can do that for a $35 pledge through August 13th. Expected fulfillment on the digital items is spring of next year. And then the physical items will follow that. It's expected in summer. So there you have it. I know this was voted as the most anticipated role-playing game of 2026 over on N-World. And the reality is, I'm not saying anything about this project. What I'm saying is, when they have these most eagerly anticipated polls and things like that, of course, there's ballot stuffing, obviously enough. Oh, but you can only vote from an IP address once. Yeah, and come on. People can't change their IP addresses like, maybe some people don't know how to do that. But anyway, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, most eagerly anticipated is something that's going to crowdfunding, and you're not going to see it for at least a year. What are you eagerly anticipating the crowdfunding project? I thought you're eagerly anticipating the game. That's what I see when they will like list options and that. A lot of times it's games that are slated to come out and then others that are slated to go to crowdfunding. Doesn't make much sense. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. And once again, Deathbringer has brought in over $500,000 so far today. So there is that. All right, let's see. Who else have we got popping on into chat tonight? We've got Captain Finity Time Travel Police. Kevin King is with us. Old Man Milo. The nickname kind of rings a bell, but I don't think we see Old Man Milo very often in chat. So they are also with us. Kevin R. Smith says the fact they were able to generate that much ballot stuffing was a harbinger of the project's early success. W. Forge says they find when death has constant consequences, it begins to matter very little. Kevin R. Smith also pointed out that Deathbringer's motto should be, "You only live thrice." You only live thrice. Forget the rest of the song from the Bond movie. I actually have the it was an album. Now it's just MP3s of like all the Bond themes. So it's like, yeah, some of them are pretty damn good. All righty then. Let's move along to our next news piece because the latest adventure for Delta Green has landed in print and PDF. And I've got the lowdown from Arc Dream Publishing about Holy War. Let life eternal be your reward. December 2001. The convulsions of America's post-9/11 war on terror have only begun. But worse threats still lurk in the shadows. Delta Green knows the gruesome, ritualistic killing of Randall Tebbs outside Phoenix, Arizona, bears unwelcome resemblances to a mass murder in 1994 Chicago. Delta Green already has a suspect in mind, but the agents are on the ground only a few hours when things get worse. The suspect reappears only to destroy himself in a deadly explosion. Aren't these like spoilers right here? The murdered victim speaks with the voice of a god. A trail of carnage leads across the country, draws the agents to the city where the towers fell, the city where cruel powers converge, to New York, the city Delta Green has learned to fear. When Delta Green stumbles into a clash between the great old ones themselves, can the agents hope to survive? This also includes 13 high-resolution digital handouts for the players. Holy War can be played with Delta Green, the role-playing game. Makes a perfect companion to the 1990s source book, Delta Green, The Conspiracy. The 108-page softcover with PDF is available at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. If you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so for $14.99. Very cool. Always good to see new Delta Green stuff popping on out. And I am also happy to say, well, not that it's a big deal, but this doesn't look like this is a tie-in to, the hell is it? God's Teeth, where we've had a few adventures that were tying into that campaign, which I did not review. My review was a non-review. It was something I wouldn't run at my game table. That's just how it went. It was just a little too dark for my personal tastes. Let's see. Driver 1775's with us talking about Star Trek. We'll get to it. Everybody, as far as like the Star Trek conversation goes, put a pin in it, because we will be talking about that in just a bit. So you don't want to blow your load before we get to it. Arcane Magus is with us, as is Max Apocalypse. It's like we got a nice chat rocking and rolling right now. Let's move on to our next news piece. Let's save you some money because Paizo Inc. has teamed with Humble Bundle for a Pathfinder role-playing game offer. I've got the skinny on Bundle of Frogs. Hop to your next adventure. If your tabletop game nights are croaking, you could use a frog-themed boost from this bundle of Pathfinder 2nd Edition tabletop role-playing game adventures and miniature printable sets from Paizo Inc. This bundle includes the riveting Dawn of the Frogs, a mystery set in the swampy mires of Bog Bottom, both in PDF form and as a physical box set, with the miniature printables included. If frogs aren't your speed, try out the Extinction Curse storyline, beginning with the circus set murder mystery, The Show Must Go On. Or take to the skies in a flying airship and search the wilderness for magical beasts in Howl of the Wild. There are whole worlds to explore in this giant Pathfinder bundle. So get a crew together, grab it while it's hot at the price of your choosing, and support the Craft Emergency Relief Fund with your purchase. Now, you can jump aboard for as little as $5. You want to go all in and score all 40 items, which also includes the physical Dawn of the Frogs box set. It's a minimum donation of $40. If you don't want the physical box set and you want the 39 PDFs, that will run you a minimum donation of $30. And these savings will run through July 31st. So here you have another excellent Humble Bundle featuring Pathfinder. And yes, we know Paizo Inc. is trying to get funds however they can. In fact, I just reached out to my contact at Paizo because I had noticed one of their upcoming releases, which reviewers do not have PDFs of yet. I mean, at least I don't have a PDF of it. And they tend to, I think they tend to just put the PDFs in our accounts all at the same time. Anyway, I see it's already out there. It's out in the wild, as in the pirates have gotten a hold of it. So I shot them an email letting them know, hey, this is out in the wild and reviewers don't have it yet. So, the call's coming from inside the house. Yep. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's something I don't understand. If you work for a role-playing game publisher and you get the PDFs, why would you go and just, release them out onto the seas of piracy, I guess I'll say. I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know. But hey, this is a rocking deal. I mean, you're getting the beginner box. You're getting the player core, GM core. You're getting the bestiary. The Extinction Curse Adventure Path is actually one of my favorites. Although it is not statted for 2nd edition, it's statted for 1st, unless they've done something with the PDFs. I take that back. It's statted for 2nd edition. It's not statted for revised or remastered. Because if it did, it would have the green tag up in the upper right corner as opposed to the gold. But still, it's not that huge a deal. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting adventure path. It's 6 parts, and the player characters are all members of a circus. So kind of nice, kind of interesting. All right, hey, you want to save some more money? Well, SoulMuppet Publishing has teamed with Bundle of Holding for 2 new offers featuring the Orbital Blues role-playing game. So let's talk about the deets of the first deal. Outlaw. Man, that wasn't too exciting. Outlaw. There we go. Adventurer. Outlaw. Bundle of Holding has resurrected their June 2024 Orbital Blues bundle featuring, anybody want to take a guess? Orbital Blues, the lo-fi space western tabletop role-playing game from SoulMuppet Publishing. You know, the folks behind Best Left Buried, which I reviewed and thought was really nicely done. This is the rock and roll future of yesteryear that never was and nobody wanted. It's an interstellar age of cowboys, outlaws, and bandits, of hyper-capitalism and a cutthroat gig economy. With your ship and your crew of interstellar outlaws, you eke out a living in the frontier galaxy, chasing the dream of freedom. Orbital Blues lets you play out rules-light old-school adventures in the style of Cowboy Bebop, Firefly, and Guardians of the Galaxy. For just $7.95, you'll get all 3 titles in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $38, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Orbital Blues core rulebook, plus the free Quick Start set and Unchained Melody, along with the 2 full-length adventures, All That Glitters and Chica de Sordade. I don't know if I pronounced that last word right. And of course, if you pay more than the threshold price of $18.23, might be a few cents more by now, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 4 more titles worth an additional $43.50, including the sandbox setting A Starborn Resistance, the adventures Everjoy and Trouble at the Rock of Tariq, and the evocative Orbital Blues art book, Wayward Stars. These savings run through July 29th. If I remember correctly, Sammy reviewed Orbital Blues. I have not. I've heard good things about it. I heard it's very well done. And if I remember correctly, Sammy's review was very positive about it too. So there is that. Very cool. All right, let's wrap up the news tonight, because now available for Dungeon Crawl Classics is Hell Pits of Night Fang. Here's the latest from Goodman Games. Nocturnal attacks have locals terrified, fearful of leaving the safety of home and hearth once the sun goes down. Something is haunting the night, and the locals have dubbed it Night Fang. Hushed whispers and pointed gestures suggest that the Hell Pits, a trio of sinkholes said to house the tomb of a great hero of old, may be the lair of Night Fang and are desperate for help. Does the party possess the cunning? Yeah, we're a cunning party, me lord. And prowess to confront the ferocious vampire which haunts the Hell Pits? Why bother playing it now? And you know what's going on. Spoiler. And is this undead menace the sole evil that lurks within those sunken chambers and passages? Only bravery and luck will determine if the party can defeat Night Fang or end up the helpless thralls of a vampiric master. Hell Pits of Night Fang is a Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing adventure intended for use by 4 to 5 5th-level player characters. It features 6 new monsters, including stats for vampires and a pair of demonic agents for your game, and can easily be inserted into any Dungeon Crawl Classics campaign. The 20-page softcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $14.99. It is available by way of Drive-Thru RPG. If you want to just score the PDF alone, you can do so for $9.99. And I will mention this is part of Janelle Jacquet's Caverns of Thracia setting. So there is that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I don't know if you live someplace and there was an area nearby and everybody called it the hell pits and something bad was going on. I don't think it's much of a stretch to think, maybe something's going on with the hell pits. Again, maybe it's just me. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned Drive-Thru RPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to swing on over to Drive-Thru RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, any of the numerous One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a 5% commission on most sales. And all those commissions really do add up, help keep thegaminggang.com around. Should also mention, if you're interested in that Paizo Humble Bundle, we are also an affiliate of Humble Bundle. So if you are going to check that out, and it's a rockin' deal, you've been kicking around, checking out Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster, 39 PDFs, including the core books, $30. That's a smoking deal. Because I think even just the PDFs for the player core, or the PDF singular, the player core is $19.99, and that's actually a little bit cheaper than they usually do their PDFs because it's a core book. But still, yeah, $39. Anyway, I've got a news piece up. Swing on over. There is an affiliate link. So if you click on the actual bundle name, it'll take you to the affiliate page. So if you make the purchase, we get a little taste of that, little bit. So there's that. All right, let's see. Who else has popped on in to chat? Have I said hello to everyone? I think I have. Keith Ulu says, I live near the hell pits. Why is my house value so bad? I know. Property values are dropping. There's sinkholes with like bubbling mud. You call it like the health pits. Oh, look, it's so medicinal, this mud. Yeah. All right. Anyway, should also point out, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. If you are hanging out, watching, and taking part in chat, be sure to hit the little heart or the flowers or 100. Try to show a little engagement. And if you're watching on a mobile device and you've got a few hype points to spare, sprinkle a few on. Helps out. Any little bit helps. Really, really does. And then, of course, if you dig the outlet, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple other ways for you to support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Yummy. And you can become a monthly member of our Patreon, just like our Patreon members, Ben Oathwaite, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzek, Peaceful Porcupine, William King, the Tabletop Scholar, Sean O'Donnell, Herman Letman, Gustavo Cavalho, Kevin King, GameCat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Far Adrift, Pete Stracklich, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, The Madman, and Flint Fireforge. Thank you very kindly, y'all. And speaking of, the Tabletop Scholar has just popped in to say hello. So there you go. There you have it. All right. A few other things before we jump on into tonight's topic, which once again, we're going to be discussing what are the best eras of Star Trek for role-playing adventures. Not necessarily what's the best, movies and stuff like that. Bamboozled Great Crowd has popped on in, asking who's backed Deathbringer. Anyway, you might recall that last show, I had a giveaway for those who weren't watching live or who did not win the copy of the Twilight Sword starter set. And I basically had it. Oh, gosh, you know what? I picked the wrong winner. It was leave a comment on the gaminggang.com to get into the running. It is Wraithing. Good thing. Good thing. Yeah, good thing. I almost gave it to somebody who had commented on the video, which was not the contest on Thursday. So there. So anyway, so Wraithing is our winner. And of course, shoot me an email to Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. I will get you set up with the PDF edition of that starter set. So tonight, because we're going to talk about Star Trek, I am going to give away a copy of the core rule book for the second edition of Star Trek Adventures from Modiphius Entertainment, or copy of Captain's Log from Modiphius Entertainment. So if you win, you get a choice. Which one do you want? Do the same thing. We're going to have a trivia question tonight. And if you don't win and you want to take part, or you're watching after the fact on Memorex, simply comment in the comment section. I will randomly select a winner and reveal them on Thursday's show. Keep in mind, no live stream tomorrow, as I am attending the service for my best friend Elliot Miller's brother, who passed away last week. So if you follow the show, if you were watching last week, you know all about that. So, like I said, no show tomorrow. There you go. The Madman's popped on in, joining us once again. He also happens to be another of our chat moderators. So, Tabletop Scholar backed Deathbringer in PDF. That's cool. Nice. Very nice. All right. All righty then. So, should we bust out tonight's trivia question? I think we will. So, in Star Trek The Next Generation, where does the pitched battle between the forces of the Federation and a Borg cube take place, trying to protect the Earth and the Sol system? First person give me the correct answer is the winner. Yeah, all righty. So, start that banging that around. I would think somebody should be really like on top of that. There you go. I didn't even get to go to the intermission. Keith Hulu has the correct answer. It is Wolf 359. And isn't it like, doesn't the Borg cube like destroy like 40, well, maybe not destroy, but pretty much knocks out of action like 40 Federation starships? Pretty wild. And it just keeps going. It's like, yeah. All righty. So we're going to talk about what era of Star Trek is best for role-playing adventures. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
It's time to eat, and doesn't that look good? It's so good, too. That's what everyone says about a Temp Taste barbecue sandwich. And you'll agree once you taste Temp Taste barbecue. In fact, how about right now? It's the perfect time to try our barbecue sandwiches, made from flavorful, lean rounds of beef and covered with our delicious, spicy barbecue sauce. Temp Taste is indeed a taste treat, now being served at our refreshment center. So visit our refreshment center now. We have a complete line of goodies to please you. While you are there, try a Temp Taste barbecue sandwich. You'll love them.
Hungry? Hurry on back to the concession stand, cause it's Temp Taste barbecue time. The tempting barbecue that has the flavor everyone likes. We have them ready to go right now. How about popcorn, Temp Taste barbecue, and a cold drink so you can enjoy the show. We feature the best in food and fast service at all times.
Hiya, hiya, hiya. They're shrimply delicious. Hiya, hiya, hiya. You'll go for that mouth-watering, taste-tempting, meaty shrimp mixture all wrapped up in a crispy noodle jacket. It's a treat you can't beat. So come on, join the folks that are getting fresh, crispy Flavo shrimp rolls now at the snack bar. They're shrimply delicious.
Help, my parachute won't open.
Try some Wilkins instant coffee. It'll give him a lift.
Since Mark was a boy, and since Robert was a boy, they've worshipped one man.
The Laurence Olivier of the airways.
What are you doing here?
I'm one of the top 10 imaginary friends kids have, just behind John Travolta, Reggie Jackson, and Farrah Fawcett Majors.
But
Oh my God.
they're about to discover
Make a big scene.
Mr. Shatner, I would like to say that I think you are the greatest American actor ever.
I'm a Canadian.
that their lifelong hero
I've got an idea.
is definitely not of this world.
It's a musical version of Julius Caesar. I want to do the complete text. Well, I'll play Julius Caesar and all the other parts, too.
The man I idolized since I was 2 turns out to be a raving loon.
Ouch.
And now...
My lady friend, she left me.
How can that be? I don't know. I mean, you're you.
Right.
He's going to lead them...
How cool is that?
...on a voyage...
Oh, my.
...to find love.
Guys, you gotta mix a little reality in with your imagination.
That's way stranger than science fiction.
I'm not the one with the green girl sex fantasy.
Oh, my.
Did you see the way that she was peeping you?
I don't believe it.
I just met the most fantastic female.
Claire.
You should be happy for her.
When Spock got infected by the spores and fell in love with Leela Kalomi, he was happy too. But Kirk fought him, made him resist.
Yeah, whatever.
Who do you see starring in it?
Rafer Weigel, Eric McCormick, Audie Englund, Patrick Van Horn, Phil Lamar, and William Shatner
And that Dr. Spock guy with those pointy ears.
as Bill.
You can call me Mr. Shatner now.
No tears for Caesar. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones.
No one will ever believe this.
Free Enterprise. Love long and party.
Dance with the captain! Oh, yeah!
Free Enterprise. Actually, it's not a bad movie. I have not seen it since it came out, but not a bad movie. Although I will point out, the Shatner is not a very nice man. I've never had any personal experience with him, but a lot of people I know and trust have. Anyway, who was it who was like, oh, Max Apocalypse, as far as the Shatner, too much. To pay. Very nice. Very nice. We have a few more people popping on in. Good friend of the show, Agile Monk, is with us. Dalen Alicia? No. Alyssa? Delaney Alyssa Delaney. Welcome aboard. I think this might not be a first-time visit. I think I recognize that nickname. Then again, could be out of my mind. Reading Aid is also with us tonight. JD Sewell says, guessing I've never made it to DVD, let alone Blu-ray. I don't know. I saw it on VHS back in the day. So there. W. Ford says, it did make it to DVD. I have a copy. So there. Well. Danny Gable's popping on in as well. So, there you go. Right. Delaney or Laney. Been here many times. Like I said, I recognize the nickname, but I'm like trying to figure out how to say it. Anyway, so tonight's topic, we're going to talk about the best eras of Star Trek for role-playing adventures. Now, I am going to give you 5. And keep in mind, my eras may not necessarily sync up with anything that's the official canon. Because I don't think, as far as eras go, I don't think it's like set in stone. But I will share my top 5. And I'll explain why. And then, of course, if you're hanging out in chat, chime in, share your thoughts, what your favorite is. But remember, we're not necessarily talking about what has the best shows or best films. We're talking about what era is the better settings, which provides a lot of opportunities for role-playing game adventures. All right. So W. Ford says, Robert Mayer Burnett is one of the creators. He's got a YouTube channel, but it comes off a bit obnoxious at times. All right. There we go. Okay. So first off, number 5, I would say, is going to be the early wave of Star Trek films, as JD Sewell makes a $10 super chat. Says, donation long overdue. Enjoy the soda. Well, thank you very much. Thank you kindly. So we're talking about Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Star Trek 4, Voyage Home. Is that it? Yeah, it is. I think it is Voyage Home. And the reason why it comes in at 5 is because it's past the original series. I don't really consider it the original series because technology has changed so much between the original show and the movies, especially when we start moving into like Star Trek 2 and 3 and so forth. But I think it's limited in its appeal for role-playing adventures because everything is pretty much focused on the crew of the Enterprise. There really aren't any other story arcs that are big enough that kind of overflow right now. Okay, when we get into the later Star Trek movies, like when we have the crossover between the original series and with Next Generation, then there are kind of bigger storylines going on. But with the early Star Trek films, I don't see a lot of opportunity for role playing as crew members of other starships, unless you want to, replace the Enterprise with that starship, which of course, fine. You can do that. It's no problem whatsoever. Anyway, A lady says, "Con!" Kevin R. Smith says, Deep Space Nine, probably great for a narrative campaign because the show has a built-in meta plot. Max Apocalypse mentions the animated series. Got to have aliens beyond the original series. There you go. There you go. W. Ford says they would pick after the motion picture. Those uniforms were not very good. No, they were not. Captain Infinity Time Travel, please. So was Chekhov on the Enterprise in season 1? You know what? I don't know. I don't know if it's canon that he was and he just isn't serving on the bridge, or if he's a replacement. I don't know. All right, next up, Strange New Worlds. And I would consider it the Strange New Worlds era, not necessarily Discovery era, even though it's like the first 2 seasons of Discovery are in that timeline. And I will say, it just irritates the shit out of me when we have shows that are supposed to be taking place prior to the original series, and the technology is way beyond anything you would ever see on the original series. It's like, oh, TOS has view screens, and Strange New Worlds, everybody's using holograms. It's like, I mean, I understand you don't want to sit there, trying to recreate the Desilu studio, set of the Enterprise. Want something, it's got a little more pizzazz. I completely get that. But at least Strange New Worlds allows you the opportunity to play around in the Federation and in space where you still have some really important conflicts going on. You've got the Klingons. You've got the Romulans. You've got aren't they Orion space pirates? And I believe they're an issue for the Federation at this point in time. So you can still get your classic Trek, but you're not necessarily locked in to playing in the shadow of, say, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and so forth. So you've got that. All right, number 3. I don't know. This is kind of a toss-up. On one hand, I liked Enterprise. I know some people were like, Enterprise sucked. I thought it was actually pretty decent as far as Star Trek shows went. I think it leaned a little too heavily into, like fan service stuff. But for the most part, I thought it was pretty decent. So I'm up in the air. Do I go with Enterprise, or do I go with what is referred to by most people as the Lost Era, which is the period of time between the original series and Next Generation, which I think is 100 years-ish. Might be wrong there. Might be more than that. Tabletop Scholar said, I really liked Scott Bakula, but that's because of Quantum Leap. Yeah, one of the reasons why I liked Enterprise was there was a little more conflict going on with the crew. And of course, it's because Gene Roddenberry was long dead. But I like, well, we'll get into this a little bit more as we progress. But I dug the fact that, the Vulcans weren't too sure about humans, and the humans weren't completely sold on the Vulcans yet. So I thought that was pretty cool. I liked it. I thought that was nice. So some discussion of Trek, and I think more about the direction the movies took. JD Sewell says, I think the more Roddenberry, the better. Less military, more exploratory. I will get into that in just a moment. But as far as number 3, like I said, Enterprise, or do we go the Lost Era? Because the Lost Era gives you a lot of leeway, right? There are no heroes. Well, I mean, there's been books, as far as I know. There's been some novels that have been written that I highly doubt are considered canon or anything like that. But you already have your established setting from the original series. We haven't gotten to the Next Generation. So you have stuff to play around with. You can have, like, your starship for your players is the first to have a holodeck built. Whatever, right? You can introduce technology that becomes commonplace in the Next Generation in the Lost Era, and then you kind of can do whatever you want. You're not worrying about somebody being, oh no, you can't do that because in season 4 of TNG, I don't know. You know what? I think I would say number 3 would be the Lost Era. So we've got that. Kevin R. Smith says DC Fontana was definitely a rock star among TV writers and a pioneer for women in a male-dominated genre. Most definitely. Oh, they're talking about the Axanar movie. I've heard of it. I'm not overly familiar with it. Savage Splendor is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. Witchlight has also joined us in chat. So, Witchlight says, Strange New Worlds would be awesome. That was our number 4. Number 2, the original series. How can that not be in the top 2, right? So you've got plenty to draw from as far as the original series. Not as much as you do with other Trek series, but still, you've got, not only do you have all of those episodes, you have so much fiction that had been written. I mean, I remember in the 70s, even before I got into high school, reading. So we used to go on vacation twice a year, and we drove. So we would drive down to Florida in the spring to visit my uncle. And then in the summer, we would drive out west. And I would actually go through at least a paperback a day, you know, in the back, riding along. That's why I can ride in a moving vehicle and read and have absolutely no problem. I could sit on a plane that's like bouncing around. I'll be like, whatever. And I think it's because of all the time that I spent reading in the back seat of our family cars over the years. Anyway, so you've got hundreds of Star Trek novels and novelizations out there that you can utilize for the original series. You've got the animated series. You've also got, wasn't it James Blish? I seem to recall that was the name. It's either Blish or Bliss, who did the novelizations not only of the original Trek episodes, but the animated series too. And those are pretty good. Were pretty decent for you to utilize as far as inspiration for, it is Blish. Okay, thank you. Thank you kindly. I thought it was. And then they were different volumes. So if I remember right, I think the original series, might have had 12 volumes. I think the animated series had 6. Kevin King says Diane Duane novels were good as well. I'm not familiar with that author. But as far as just having tons of content available to you at your fingertips for inspiration or to just crib. Oh, you guys haven't seen the animated series? Oh, well, okay. Bang. Plus, you had, way more aliens and way more strange aliens in the animated series than you did in, because, animated. It's not makeup or any special effects or anything like that. Keith Ulu points out, Blish also wrote one of the first standalone novels, Spock Must Die. I've read that. And I also remember Spock's Son was another novel that I read. His CEO says, hey, Jeff, I sent you 2 emails last week on your sale. Haven't seen a response. Okay, so one thing I should point out, if you're sending me emails, if you're sending it from like yahoo.com, some reason my mail server does not like Yahoo. I think it's because Yahoo probably uses IP addresses that have been flagged for spam. So that might be the case. You want to also make sure that you're utilizing the correct email address. I know in the past people have been like, oh, I got TG sale or something like that. It's like, or TG game sale. And it's like, well, no, it's actually TGG game sale. So, Kevin King says their wife prefers Lower Decks, much to their annoyance. W. Ford says they've got a collection of Blish's Star Trek episode adaptations. I used to have them, no longer do. I have gone through multiple book collections over the years. Usually by moving like cross country, it'd be like, oh, okay, who wants these? Go ahead. I believe my best friend Elliot Miller still has his. And they would be from the late 70s, early 80s. Kind of wild. Pretty wild. Hisio says, I use Yahoo. That must be it. Their son has Gmail. That would be probably your best bet. Because, yeah, for some reason, when people say, hey, man, I'm sending emails, I always ask, are you using a Yahoo account or sometimes AOL? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's maybe what's going on. Anyway, worst case scenario, if you're still not getting the email through, on Thursday, I'll mention another email address. It's just my Gmail email address, but I prefer not to get, the Gaming Gang related email to it. All right. W. Ford says the book with Spock's son is called Yesterday's Son. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I guess that was it. That must have been it. I didn't read tons of Trek. I tended to read a lot of Alan Dean Foster, the Pip and Flinks series. I think I was introduced to Alan Dean Foster because of Splinter of the Mind's Eye. I seem to recall. Old Man Milo says you can mail order original 35 millimeter film clips and pictures in the 70s. Have a bunch of between shots with Spock. Oh, that's kind of cool. Christopher Lundgren is joining us. Welcome. Anywho, so we're down to number 1, and I think most people can pretty much figure out what it's going to be. And no, it's not Discovery. It's The Next Generation, including the films that brought them to the silver screen. And really, The Next Generation opens up just a ton of possibilities because you had multiple series that you could utilize. You've got various different plot lines. So as I had mentioned before, and it was pointed out, like more Roddenberry, the better. With Gene Roddenberry, there could not be any sort of conflict between the crew or within the Federation. And there were some pretty cool plot lines that came out in, well, starting with The Next Generation, where there were some splinter groups within the Federation who were kind of trying to overthrow the governing body and stuff like that. And I dig that kind of stuff. The Federation is always the ones wearing the white hats. To me, it's a little boring. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that, you got to play the Federation as, like the mirror universe or something like that. No, not at all. But, come on. Especially where there were episodes where, like, early Next Generation, it's like you never see crew members kind of rubbing each other wrong, And I mean, we're not even talking about like fights and stuff like that. It was just everybody's always in sync, and unless they're not part of the Federation, well then, hey, there's always going to be problems there. But you also have Deep Space Nine, and you've got Voyager. So you've got the introduction of a lot of very important factions as far as Star Trek lore goes. So you've got the Borg, you've got the Cardassian. It's the hell. Is it Cardassian? No, that's the family. The Bajorans, and then, you got the Dominion. Although I got to be honest, I didn't really watch much of Deep Space Nine or Voyager. I watched the first few episodes of Voyager. I watched, I think, the first season or so of Deep Space Nine. And yes, I've had friends tell me, Jeff, you got to watch Deep Space Nine. After the first 2 seasons, it gets really good. And it's like, I guess it's like when Worf shows up. Christopher Lundgren says, I hate to say it, Jeff, Next Gen got better after Gene died. I've said that. I'm not bothered by you saying that. And the rain's taken off the writers. Which light says, please state the nature of the role-playing emergency. So it is Cardassians. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Oh, it's Kardashians. Is he? So I had it right. It's like, wait a second. Oh, am I? What? Histio says, being a former sailor, one of the things I hated about Next Generation was the size of the staterooms. Space is a premium on ships. That's why they liked Enterprise. It seemed more realistic. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could understand that. Some discussion of free Star Trek role-playing games? Star Trek? Hey, I got to be honest. From what I've seen, Modiphius Entertainment has done a pretty damn good job with harboring Star Trek as a role-playing game. They've been pretty fine stewards as far as taking care of the legacy of Star Trek. Anyway, some discussion of. Okay, so one thing I am not necessarily. Well, okay, how should I phrase this? I'll phrase it this way. I don't really give a shit about fan produced Star Trek, Star Wars, any of that stuff. I don't. It's like, okay, whatever. That's great. I'm glad you're enjoying yourselves. Have fun. But Chris just pointed out Star Trek continues, they consider to be canon. Prove them wrong. I'll tell you right now. Wasn't from Paramount, so there you go. It's not canon. Peaceful Porcupine has popped on in. Let's see. Laney says, I don't know. Brandon Braga was so inconsistent. He had more inconsistencies than even Star Wars. Yeah, I don't. So should we talk about Star Trek over the last few years? W. says staterooms in Strange New Worlds are ridiculous. W. Ford also points out the captain's quarters have a fireplace. Old Man Milo says they were a proud U.S. Navy submariner. Proud red shirt. Sweet. Anyway, so I think the Next Generation era is no doubt the best for role-playing adventures because there's so much at a game master's fingertips that they can utilize. And they can kind of, if you want to go in a Voyager sort of direction, you can pretty much do whatever you want. If you're looking for, it was already pointed out in chat, if you're looking for kind of a meta plot or an overarching plot line that your adventures are going to slip into, Deep Space Nine, right? And then, if you want your crew to go gallivanting through space, what was the name of the ship that they had? They had their own small ship. It wasn't like a fighter. I can't remember the name of it. But you got that. And of course, if you're looking for classic space, the final frontier, and you got the Next Generation. Just make sure that Riker's got a beard and you'll be all set. It'll be good adventures. The Runabout. Yeah, that's right. That's what it was called. I thought it had a cooler name than that. I did. Oh, the Defiant. Yes, there you go. Nice. Witchlight asks, you didn't like Space Hogwarts, Jeff? I didn't even watch it. I saw a trailer for it. Now, okay, I am not one of these fanboys / gals out there who gets all upset that my fandom is not appreciated and, everything. Oh, how could they be changing the race of this comic book character? Because I don't own it. I know that. I don't own any of this. So it's not up to me nobody's calling me up going, hey, Jeff, we're thinking about doing another Star Wars show, and this is what we're thinking of doing. That ain't happening to me. Anyway. So I did not watch the final season of Discovery. I watched Discovery, and the first thing that I thought was, what the hell is going on with the Klingons? And did the Klingons suddenly forget how to speak their language? Right? It's like, what the hell's going on here? And I was like, yeah, the special effects are pretty good. But I kind of liked the the dark warp technology or whatever that they used. I thought that was kind of cool. And then I thought the one captain who ends up being a villain, sorry, if I'm spoiling something out there. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought it became a better show when they made the time jump. I thought after that, it was a better show. I think after that, it also felt like maybe they were trying to use more of an ensemble cast rather than just focusing on, 2-3 characters. But there were other things that I just thought was like, what? Picard, the 3 seasons of Picard, I think just tread water. See, this is one of the things that well, okay. I mean, it doesn't keep me up at night. You would never see me like posting stuff online like, because that kind of falls into the I really don't give a shit category, I mean, I like my fantasy, I like my science fiction. If they screw with it, whatever, that's fine. I just don't have to come back to it. But I think the timeline, the Picard timeline, which I don't consider like Next Generation. I think we've moved past that. The Romulans, the Romulans have lost all relevance, in my opinion. They used to be, they were kind of like the equivalent of the Russians, right? To the U.S. Crafty, but yeah, okay, so, their homeworld's destroyed, whatever. So I think they've ruined Romulans. They've effectively declawed the Klingons, of course. The Borg are like not the sort of threat they were. Didn't like the Borg hive mind is gone? Wasn't that what it is? Anyway, I didn't think they were all that good. It was, and of course, it wasn't Patrick Stewart. He was fine. Alison Pill, for the most part, the acting was fine. The 3rd season, was it the 2nd season? No, I think it was the 2nd season, where it was almost kind of like a reboot of Voyage Home. I was like, what's going on here? And then the final season of Picard, I mean, I thought, you had a great opportunity to go out on a high note. It was just sort of Strange New Worlds started off. I liked it. I did. I thought it was pretty good. But then, it starts getting into stuff like I said, the huge problem I've got is when they're busting out all this technology that had never even been considered in the original series. And it's like, well, yeah, this is 20 years before, 40 years before. And you're like, okay. I think think it's 15, something like that. But yeah, I will say, Strange New Worlds does more often than not feel like it's Trek. Starfleet Academy, I didn't watch a moment of. And the reason I didn't was because I don't understand the fascination people have with shows about people who are in school, which is what they were trying to latch onto, that sort of thing. And I saw the trailer, and there's some cadets are supposed to be partying in that. One guy gets sick and he vomits like glitter or something. And I was like, oh no. And I like Holly Hunter. So I don't know. I was like, And then some people I heard said, oh yeah, it's a fun show. Maybe it's not necessarily Trek, but it's a fun show. And then I heard other people online talking about how it was the absolute worst Trek that they ever saw. DJ Jazzy Jedi is with us once again. Good to see him. Okay, let's see what's going on in chat here. Laconic Lane is hanging with the gang. Said, I liked Voyager. The orchestra opening was beautiful. Yeah, that did have a really good opening to that show. Weirdly enough, I kind of liked the song that was with Enterprise. And I don't know why. It just kind of was kind of catchy. DJ Jazzy Jedi says they haven't seen anything since Deep Space Nine and Voyager, except for 3 episodes of Discovery. I think another aspect of it's not necessarily a dislike of the new Trek that's come out. It's more lack of interest is, I think it's kind of lame when you've got a streaming service. And essentially, to me, Star Trek is just network TV or feature films. It just feels weird when you've got a streaming service and they've got like one show that people are interested in, and you got to subscribe to that service. And I know you can cancel when the season's over. A lot of people do. I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like, okay, as someone who does not watch TV shows on CBS, because I'm not that fucking old. Yeah, I don't really have that much interest. Star Wars goes through the same thing. People are like, oh, they've ruined Star Wars. It's like I talk about with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not the audience that they're making content for. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that because I have access to all the cool stuff that I've enjoyed forever. And I can continue to enjoy forever. It's not like somebody's going to come and take it away. Whereas, if I buy something from, say, Amazon, and it's like a streaming movie or TV show or whatever, I don't really own it. Hissio says, no one's mentioned the most important thing, at least on the internet, is Captain Pike's hair. I like that actor. That actor's pretty good. He was in Hell on Wheels. That's when I first remember seeing him. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right. One of the things with like the new So kind of also with Star Wars, and it was funny. Who was it who just said, Star Wars doesn't have to have TV series about minor characters. It doesn't have to be, that kind of thing, right? And I kind of was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. And Joe Monk says, you hear that? Jeff is not the audience. No, I'm not. Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons why I don't get upset. And probably because I never invested like my essence into something like that. I've never sat there and been like, oh my gosh, I'm going to devote the next year of my life watching and reading everything Star Wars. No, never happened. Anyway, so all art's subjective, including television and movies, says Keithulu. I agree. That's why when, no Matlock for Jeff, no. In fact, my brother and his wife are watching Matlock, and my mom watches it. And my brother was talking about it, and I said, well, it's official. He says, what? I said, you're fucking old. He's like, oh, it's good. Like, yeah, okay. And he's got umpteen streaming services too. So it's not like it's like, oh, gotta watch what's on free television. Max Apocalypse says Academy was great. I'm not watching season 2 because I canceled Paramount Plus after they got bought by, well, okay, you know how that goes. Yeah, I get it. Hey, vote with your pocketbook too. I understand. Vote with your wallet. I gotcha. But that actually brings up kind of another topic. I don't get like mad at people who like something I didn't like, or they really dig something that I'm just like, yeah, whatever, okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a good fanboy. Nope, I'm not. I don't have time for like when people go, oh, I hate this. There's very little in this world I invest the energy into hating. I don't think there's probably anything. All right. Max Apocalypse says, I don't get upset about TV shows or movies becoming something I don't particularly like. I just stop watching them. Right. We talked about how people talk about new shows and that, oh, you got to see this show. I give a show 3 episodes. I've mentioned this before. If the series has not grabbed me by 3 episodes, then I'm like, nah. Hisio says they prefer the Enterprise era. The early days of the Federation. Enterprise era was no, it actually missed out. It was kind of sort of number 3. I was kind of like, do we do Lost era, Enterprise? Yeah. As I pointed out earlier, I liked Enterprise. I thought it was kind of cool. All right. So that is it for this evening's show. No show tomorrow. On Thursday, I believe I am going to share my Gen Con Survival Guide 2026 edition, where I will talk about 10 items, at least 10 items, to keep in mind if Gen Con is, maybe it's your first visit to Gen Con, or maybe you're not super familiar with the area around the convention center and things like that. Kind of, point you in certain directions as far as not getting ripped off on food, not getting ripped off on a hotel room. Sorry, if you're staying downtown, there's no avoiding that. but give you some tips as far as future Gen Cons, like booking hotel or motel rooms, stuff like that. So that will be on tomorrow, or not tomorrow. That'll be on Thursday's show. Also want to point out, if you missed it, I shared reviews of Starfinder Tales from the Vast from Paizo Inc., as well as Adventures Dark and Deep, Book of Lost Tables from BRW Games. So if you have not checked out those reviews, by all means, please give them a peek. One last rock through chat here. Christopher Lundgren says, Star Trek Academy's okay. Not anything to write home about, I would guess, is what he was looking at. But it's moot because it's canceled. Yeah. Mark Hawkswell says, sometimes I get pulled into a show I thought I didn't like. My wife liked Parks and Rec. And it took me until the second season till I realized I was enjoying it. That was another show, and I've watched all of Parks and Rec. It was a different show the first season, because there's like one of the major characters in the first season. When the second season rolls around, they're gone. And I think from the second season onward, I think Parks and Rec got a little bit sillier, which was a good thing for that show. So there you go. All right. Anywho, that is it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, thank you kindly, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news and talking about a topic, what have you. Now, of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't get an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. Should also point out, if you are interested in getting into the running to win a copy of either Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition or Star Trek Captain's Log in PDF, by all means, leave a comment in the comment section. I will randomly choose a winner and announce them on Thursday. So, of course, be a subscriber. Hopefully, you give the video a thumbs up. And leave a comment in the comment section. Like I said, I will randomly select one lucky viewer, and they will get a copy of their choice of either of those games in PDF. Not too shabby. Hey, it was, we were talking Star Trek. Do a Star Trek giveaway. All right. If you enjoyed the show, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. And if you ring the bell, be sure to select all notifications, because YouTube is supposed to not only let you know when the dispatch streams live, it's also supposed to inform you when I share other videos, such as the aforementioned Adventures Dark and Deep, Book of Lost Tables from BRW Games. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you kindly for watching. I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.